I wanted to start off with politics, but since we're looking at economics now, let's get started. What do you make of these growth targets, and are they achievable, easy?
Yeah, thank you, David. I think that this is actually a really great time that China has started this political season, and actually it's a rally time, and it's also everybody, all the policymakers and the delegates are really work out the maps for the whole year to develop. I think 5.5 was realistic. I think we had actually an event with World Bank, and the World Bank projection was 5.1%. So I think something about 5.5% is also significant enough. Which means about almost $1 trillion added to the Chinese GDP because of the gigantic size already China has. But I think this is also has been supported by many government policies, like government has capped going to keep CPI around the 3%, which China is still reasonable around the 2 point something, and also China is now give them all the more tax holidays, that tax breaks that they're going to issue 2.5 trillion RMB tax holidays for the enterprises. But on top of that, I think there's a variety of China still going to open like open door policy, attract foreign investment, and so I think that while the world is really have a chaotic situation, China become oasis actually supporting the global economy and actually is doing quite well. All the elements, synergy, productivity, digital economy. Also China
Henry,
going to solve 10 million employment. So all those are adding all those great numbers.
Henry, earlier on, I just want to get your take really on also just how China deals with a lot of challenges. And we'll talk about the Ukraine situation in just a moment. But just domestically, the virus situation, we just had a line of, well, at least as far as the numbers are concerned, reported numbers, the worst since Wuhan. How do you think the virus strategy changes, if at all, this year in China?
Well, I think that's probably going to take some time. I think China has already successfully carried out the Winter Olympic, Paralympics. So I would think that people are getting a little bit used to have a huge amount of foreign visitors now. And what I expect is probably, after the two sections, China will, really study the situation around the world, how other countries are cope with Omicron and other variant. And so if this is really become herd community, or if there's something really that all the other countries are opened up, I think China will probably reassess its policy. But right now, I think the zero COVID tolerance strategy is working in China, and China is the only country that is in full capacity. 724. I mean, it's all production, in a big chunk, and to supply the world now. So I would say that China definitely will be flexible, but really depends how other countries are fighting this and how that other international policy will impact this. But also depends on the vaccine and all the other things. But I don't think China is going to easily probably abandon this. But you will actually assess the situation and make its proper strategy for that.
Let's talk about Ukraine. We know, of course, Russia is an ally of China. What do you think Beijing, how do you think Beijing is looking at this situation as we speak?
Yeah, I think China's stand is pretty clear. And of course, China is, as you said, is a great country, has a good relation with both Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine is the Belt and Road signing country with China, and of course China also signed some joint statement with Russia. I think China enjoys good relations with both countries, and China actually is the largest trading partner for both countries as well. So I think China doesn't want to see really disrupted Europe or this kind of crisis. What's happening in Ukraine is really appalling. I think that China really wants to see this to be resolved as soon as possible. I'm glad that Chinese Foreign Minister, State Councilor Wang actually spoke to Ukraine Foreign Minister, Russian Foreign Minister, and yesterday with Secretary Blinken. So I think China probably is doing its best to trying to calm down the situation, and of course China has a vital interest because the Euro-Asia and the China on this Belt and Road initiative the continental shipment of the railway, actually from China to Europe, has gone up 50% in the last 2 years. So there's enormous interest for China to stay a stable, prosperous, and no conflict Europe. So absolutely, I think that China's stand is quite clear. Of course, we want to see this situation and urge the two sides to negotiate. And China probably is happy to help if China is invited or consulted on the issue.
Huiyao, well, I guess what a lot of people are now wondering is, right, I mean, there are political alliances out there. That's a given really in today's world. What do you think the red line is, though, for Beijing as it pertains to how it treats Russia and also what it will do to your point, achieve that objective of calming things down?
Well, I think it's already, there are some signs now. I think I noticed that Ukraine foreign minister or somebody, a delegate said maybe Ukraine is not joining the NATO. I think that's probably what Russia is want, is not join the NATO. But we can see, this thing is not happening without probably reasons, because the NATO has expanded 5 times in eastward, and it's not to the frontier of Russian. And actually, historically, Ukraine and Russia has such a mixed relations and historic relations and probably relative relations. So I think that really makes things complicated. So I think if probably if Ukraine is abandoning the position of joining NATO, or EU is not, or NATO is not really admitting Ukraine, things probably may calm down. But also, I think for Russian, that's probably their key request on the issue. And of course, China, also sees that it's not necessary for NATO to expand unnecessarily to the extreme, to the maximum. I think, we have seen that in Kanan's telegram, the interview actually by Thomas Friedman and also William Perry, the former secretary of Bill Clinton, has already against the idea of eastward of expansion of NATO. So I think that NATO eastward expansion probably is too much. So this is something I think we really need to work on. But also definitely, I mean, the conflict, this kind of crisis, this war is absolutely is really intolerable, is unnecessary. I think that is really that humanitarian crisis has to be stopped as soon as possible.